Going on, friends? I'm Rick. This is your seat table. Got little Grandway Mama sitting over here. She was just a moment ago trying to busily stick her forehead right into my mouth, trying to. Anyhow, I just finished reading Grey Death Rising by Mr. Jason Schmeiser, and this is a little better book than the last one by Mr. Schmeiser that I read. Not here nor there. I have to admit, though, when I first started reading it, a couple things came to mind. First, being an old grognard for sure, having been with the hobby since 1985, Grey Death has a very special place within the lexicon and the lore of the Battletech universe. If anybody and everybody has to know that for sure. And so when we found out the way the legendary unit ceased to exist, they died in very haphazard, sloppy manner, in my opinion. It would have been different if there had been like a novel where there was some heroic last defense kind of thing before the nuclear fire rained down from the Wobbies or whatever the cause of it was. But no, it didn't come out that way. So it was a very lame way to end it. So to have them reintroduced is a welcome return in many ways. But I have to admit, when I first started reading it, I was actually becoming really a bit disillusioned and a bit annoyed, in part because, no offense, but the way the unit just kept growing and expanding and adding on was almost what would be attributed to a Mary Sue type scenario today, where it just seems like too good to be true, too much going on, too many things coming in too fast, too conveniently, and all these things often suddenly work real well together. I mean, they do make some effort to show them going out and doing practicing to get better together and coordinated, but still, that said, it kind of came off a little bit at the beginning as a bit, I don't know. But it grew on me after a little while. I started reading it, and my perspective of the story changed, and that's always a good thing. I mean, I started seeing it for the rebirth of the Grey Death, but more importantly, as an example for players of how you can build your mercenary command from nothing to something, and how it can kind of work out for over a number of adventures and in campaigns where you can add stuff and acquire stuff and gain new reputations and all this other stuff. So, I mean, it's a great example of that, and it does show a good refooting of how the Grey Death Legion enters into the new age of the Ilk Clan era, although I will have to point out that the characters, the irony is the two Grey Death characters, Bel, but I'll be damned if I can remember Carlyle, or whatever his name is, and it ain't Carlyle. The grandson of the great Carlyle death, or Grayson Carlyle. The fact is that they come off a little bit too two-dimensional to me, whereas a number of the supporting actors, the supporting characters of the novels, the stories, actually have much deeper depth to them. There's more rounded and well developed, even though you don't see that much of them. I mean, it's just kind of a bit of a tongue-in-cheek story, kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. When you look at how everything just conveniently just keeps coming together for the Carlyles, and how the unit just seems to just keep ratcheting up and ratcheting up. I mean, oh yes, it's just terrible. It was just unheard of. The idea that, but I loved how Jason explained it, that the Carlyles inherited or took over a junkyard that was so full of parts that they were able to outfit a short battalion in a hurry, between mechs and tanks and support vehicles. I mean, that was pretty impressive. I'm just saying that was just really impressive. What they were lacking was a logistic and tech train, the support that kind of goes with. But their first contract allowed them to acquire that very highly needed component to make them a really good, solid mercenary command, because now they can do full circle stuff in-house that they need to do. It's just kind of like, right? Sure. But the way it was Jason explained the existence of the junkyard, though, was pretty slick, because he understood that a lot of old farts like me are going to go, when we go, huh, really? Because we're from 3025, when that sort of thing wouldn't existed. It was all salvage was valuable, and it was very well looked after and very well farmed out. So you might find boneyards where there was nothing but scrap mechs left, which literally meant there was nothing salvageable, or maybe very little tiny specific things. If you had to go look for something specific, you might find it, but you weren't going to find some just junkyard full of valuable stuff. But the way that the clan invasion and then the FedCom war and the years after that had seen such a renaissance in technological manufacturing capabilities in the inner sphere, that they had progressed to a point where they weren't worried about salvage and overly focused on repairing a 100-year-old machine. They just replaced it with the next new thing and kicked the old one out to the boneyard. So I mean, I can see it, and I'm glad it was written that way, because it really lends itself much better to that sort of environment, right? I don't think. Once again, I don't think the Baron and the bad guys plotting was all that great. It was a little obvious in some ways, but nothing overly clever to it, but nothing terribly wrong with it either. It was just another kind of in line of all this. Well, it's the Gray Death, and we want them to succeed, but we don't want them to succeed with too we wouldn't want them to have to go through the living hell that their grandfather had to create his unit. I mean, you have to read Decision at Thunder Rift to truly appreciate just the differences between the three, the generational difference in these people. That's fine though. This is an awesome book. You cannot go wrong with it. Having it upside down ain't helping. If you get your hands on it, it's well worth the read. I look forward to reading this again several times before I croak. That's kind of the whole point of buying novels and stuff. I mean, I can look over here and I'll pull it. And these have been sitting here all summer for some reason I don't recall. But these were first print editions that came out in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, and I got a hold of them, and I have read them almost every year since I was a kid, since these things were published, and that they're obviously, seen better days and seen plenty of use, is what it is. But anytime I ever had to go anywhere for any length of time, if I was a kid, I was going to go spend time with my grandparents. This went into my bag of stuff. Went to my aunt and uncle's house, when I had time to read, and my cousins weren't keeping me busy, and my uncle wasn't doing crap that's terribly illegal today. Is what it is. These were a lot of my ways to to get away. A lifetime of trying to get away. I mean, I've also, I got a number of others sitting over there. There's the Landell Carlson and a couple of his stories, and then there's a 3-hand solo trilogy, the original ones, Land's End, and Solo's Revenge, that kind of stuff. All real good stuff. Anyway, great novel. Good work, Mr. Schmeiser. Awesome stuff. Keep doing the work. You know what I'm saying? You have entered the legacy of a very vast franchise, and I know you're aware of it, but your legacy will be with this franchise long past you and I being around to appreciate it. Just saying. Anyway, till next time, I'm Rick. You're not. Have yourselves a great new week. It is Sunday afternoon, kind of late for me to get videos in, but it's been a busy weekend. I had a brief job this morning to go look after her, and then the wife to clean the office up there. So then we took a nap, got a shower in, got some supper. Now I'm doing this, and 8 o'clock this evening, about 4 hours, I got to take off and go do their 5 hours, 6 hours tonight. I'll hopefully be done by 1:30 in the morning-ish after I make my second trip to dump the truck. It's Hana Sushi on the way out on the west side of Des Moines, West Des Moines, near Jordan Creek. Anyway, till next time.